Like, is Michael Jordan a friend of yours?
He's a good mentor, man. He's like a big brother.
Even legends leave secrets behind. Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, the fiercest competitor in NBA history, didn't just dominate the game. He quietly admired a select few players who earned his respect and had a huge impact on him.
I don't think people really understand the amount of impact that he's had on me.
Some were teammates, some were rivals, and one of them, he once couldn't stand. Today, we're counting down the top 6 players Kobe Bryant respected the most, the ones who earned his praise, challenged his limits, and left a permanent mark on his career. And trust me, the last one will surprise you. Let's start with the obvious one, the number 1. If you know Kobe Bryant, you know his story begins with Michael Jordan. From the first time Kobe laced up in the NBA, he wasn't just trying to play basketball, he was trying to become the closest thing to Jordan the league had ever seen. The fadeaway, the footwork, the swagger, even the way he chewed gum and glared at opponents, it all came from Jordan. But what most people don't realize is that Jordan saw something in Kobe early on. When Kobe was still just a teenager, barely getting minutes in his rookie season, he walked straight up to MJ before a game and said, "You know I could kick your ass one-on-one, right?"
Says that you told Michael Jordan that
I could kick your ass one-on-one.
Most veterans would have laughed him off, but Jordan didn't. Instead, he gave Kobe a look that said, "We'll see." That moment sparked something deeper, a mentorship.
Is Michael Jordan a friend of yours?
He's a good mentor, man. He's like a big brother.
Kobe started calling Jordan for advice. MJ would respond, sometimes in the middle of the night. They talked about footwork, mindset, how to destroy double teams, how to stay ruthless. Jordan became Kobe's unofficial coach from afar. Years later, when the world mourned Kobe's death, Michael Jordan stood on stage at the Staples Center, tears streaming down his face, and said, "When Kobe died, a piece of me died."
When Kobe Bryant died, a piece of me died.
He called him his little brother. That respect wasn't just about basketball, it was about understanding. Kobe once said, "Everything I learned about the game, I got from studying him." Their rivalry evolved into kinship, a passing of the torch from one killer to another, and that's why Michael Jordan sits at the very top of the list. But as deep as that brotherhood ran, Kobe's respect wasn't limited to his idol, because number 2 came from the other side of history, and that's why Michael Jordan sits at the very top of the list of players Kobe Bryant respected most. Number 2 on the list is Larry Bird. Kobe Bryant was obsessed with greatness, no matter where it came from. And one of the players he respected the most didn't even play in his era, Larry Bird, the original cold-blooded assassin from Boston. Kobe grew up watching tapes of Bird torch defenses with impossible shots and an ice-cold stare that never wavered. Bird wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the most athletic, but what he had was a killer instinct, the kind that could silence an entire arena. And that, more than anything, spoke to Kobe. In his younger years, Kobe admitted he hated Bird. Not because of who Bird was, but because of what he represented. The Celtics, the sworn enemy of the Lakers. To a kid raised on Showtime glory, Boston was the villain. But as Kobe matured, that hate turned into respect. He saw in Bird the same fire he carried within himself, an unbreakable will to win. And the respect went both ways. Bird once said, "Kobe's one of the toughest human beings I've ever seen." Coming from a man who played through broken bones and back pain, that's saying something. He compared Kobe's pain tolerance and drive to his own, saying, "That guy just played through anything." Kobe, in turn, admired Bird's mind as much as his game. The trash talk, the IQ, the way he could control a game without saying a word. He once joked that if they ever played one-on-one, it would come down to who blinked first. That wasn't arrogance, it was recognition. 2 killers from 2 eras. One powered by precision, the other by passion. Different styles, same hunger. And that's why, even in death, Kobe's respect for Larry Bird still echoes, from one assassin to another. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar takes the 3rd spot. To truly understand why Kareem Abdul-Jabbar earned Kobe Bryant's respect, you need to picture the timeline. By the time Kobe entered the NBA, Kareem was already more than a player. He was a living legend. 6-time MVP, 6-time NBA champion, the all-time leading scorer for decades, a man whose skyhook alone could define an era. He wasn't just great, he was a standard, a benchmark for anyone chasing basketball immortality. But here's the thing, what Kobe admired most about Kareem wasn't the trophies, the accolades, or the staggering numbers. No, it was something far deeper. It was discipline, it was intelligence. It was a quiet mastery of the game that went beyond physical talent. Kobe didn't just want to win. He wanted to understand how to win, how to sustain greatness over decades, how to keep the body and mind connected, how to turn strategy and preparation into a weapon. And for that, he turned to Kareem. When Kareem would visit Lakers practices, when he offered advice during interviews or casual conversations, Kobe listened like a student in a sacred classroom. Every word mattered. Every anecdote, every insight, every lesson about longevity, focus, or mental toughness was absorbed. Kobe wasn't just curious, he was hungry. He asked questions that many young players wouldn't even think to ask, about training routines, recovery, diet, how to manage pressure, and how to approach the game with patience and intelligence rather than emotion alone. Kareem recognized that spark early on.
I've never seen anybody that prepared. He was 17 years old and was ready to play NBA basketball.
He saw in Kobe the same hunger he had cultivated in himself over years of dominance. He once reflected, "I knew Kobe's family, his wife, his kids. He was a student of the game in a way most people can't understand." And he wasn't exaggerating. While many players chased headlines or spotlight moments, Kareem quietly focused on mastery, on perfecting his craft, on teaching without needing recognition. That kind of understated excellence resonated deeply with Kobe, who admired precision, dedication, and the subtle ways greatness is maintained over time. When Kobe passed away, Kareem's tribute reflected this profound connection. He didn't lead with numbers or stats. Instead, he said, Kobe was more than an athlete. He was a father, a creator, a leader. Two generations of basketball royalty, separated by decades, shared a common belief. True greatness isn't measured by applause or accolades, but by intention, mastery, and the impact you leave behind. Yet, even as Kobe respected these towering figures, his admiration didn't stop there. On his own team, there were players who might not have made highlight reels or won MVPs, but who commanded his respect in ways that mattered even more. And among them, one quality stood out above all else: heart. Number 4 on the list is Derek Fisher. Kobe Bryant once said it plainly that Derek Fisher is his favorite teammate of all time.
He's been my favorite teammate of all time.
Let that sink in. Not Paul Gasol, not any of the other superstars who shared the court with him. Derek Fisher. For a player like Kobe, whose standards were almost impossible to meet, that statement spoke volumes about what he truly valued. Because for Kobe, respect wasn't about stats, accolades, or highlight reel dunks. It was about trust, accountability, and character. Fisher embodied all of that. He was one of the rare players who could look Kobe dead in the eye during a timeout, during a tense playoff moment, and calmly say, "You're wrong." And instead of firing back, instead of taking offense, Kobe respected that. He respected honesty, discipline, and a teammate willing to speak the truth, even when it challenged him. That was Fisher's currency, and it bought him Kobe's loyalty. On the court, Fisher was a master of the clutch moment. His legendary 0.4-second shot against the Spurs in the 2004 playoffs is still talked about in hushed, reverent tones by Lakers fans. The arena fell silent, then erupted in disbelief, a moment frozen in history. But to Kobe, it wasn't just about that shot. It was about the mindset Fisher brought every game. Fisher led quietly, holding players accountable, never making excuses, and mirroring Kobe's own intensity behind the scenes. That combination of grit, composure, and reliability was priceless in Kobe's eyes. When Fisher left the Lakers in 2004, it left a void that statistics couldn't measure. Kobe was the first to call for his return. "We need him. He's my brother," Kobe reportedly said. And when Fisher came back, the duo went on to win 2 more championships together, cementing a bond that wasn't just forged in victories, but in trust, trials, and countless battles on the hardwood. You could see it in every celebration, every banner raised, every locker room moment. Kobe's grin, Fisher's calm demeanor. It wasn't showmanship. It was a silent acknowledgement of mutual respect, a connection built in the trenches of NBA warfare. In one post-game interview, Kobe even said, "Fish is the only guy I've ever trusted to hit the big shot if I couldn't." For a man who trusted almost no one, whose intensity bordered on obsession, that statement says everything. It's proof that respect isn't earned by talent alone. It's earned through consistency, loyalty, and shared struggle. But number 5 on our list takes a different path. It isn't about trust or quiet leadership. It's about war, ego, and a respect that could only be forged in the fire of competition. A rivalry that defined an era and tested Kobe like no teammate ever could. At number 5 is Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, the duo that defined a generation. When you talk about NBA history, their names are forever linked, a combination of talent, dominance, and drama that few could rival. Together, they won 3 consecutive championships,
Kobe and Shaq, they won 3 titles in a row together.
racked up countless highlight reel moments, and became the most feared inside-outside duo in the league's history. But behind that dazzling success, there was tension, a simmering, combustible tension that fueled both greatness and headlines. Shaq was the larger-than-life superstar, a man whose presence on the court could shake arenas. Kobe was the young, ambitious killer, hungry to carve his legacy, to be recognized not just as a teammate, but as a force in his own right. When 2 alpha personalities collide, conflict is inevitable. Their arguments went public. They were dissected in interviews, quoted in locker rooms, and splashed across sports media. The narratives were relentless. Diss tracks, veiled jabs, public spats. It was chaos, a storm the world couldn't get enough of. But as the media painted them as enemies, what often went unnoticed was the undercurrent that ran beneath all the noise: mutual respect. Shaq later admitted that both of them respected each other.
Kobe and I always maintained a deep respect and a love for one another.
There's a story Shaq told that encapsulates everything about their complex relationship. Game 7 of the 2000 Western Conference Finals. The Lakers were down by 15 points. The clock was ticking and the pressure was suffocating. Kobe took over, hitting clutch shots, grabbing every rebound he could reach, driving the pace with relentless aggression. In the final moments, he saw Shaq waiting under the basket. Without hesitation, Kobe threw an alley-oop, perfectly timed, and Shaq slammed it home for the dagger dunk. The crowd erupted, but what happened next was even more telling. Shaq ran down the court, arms wide open, and Kobe leaped into his embrace like a kid greeting his older brother. Pure joy, pure understanding. In that moment, all the drama, the disputes, the public battles, none of it mattered. Years later, the world witnessed their reconciliation, publicly and genuinely. On live television, Shaq smiled at Kobe and said, "I love you, man." And Kobe, ever the emotionally honest competitor when it mattered, replied, "I love you too, big fella." That exchange wasn't just a soundbite, it was a window into a relationship forged in fire, a testament to the fact that respect sometimes comes after rivalry, after conflict, after ego, and after years of proving yourself both individually and as a team. And yet, despite all the locker room battles, the championships, the shared struggles and triumphs, there was one final name on this countdown. Someone who never shared a Lakers locker room with Kobe. Someone who never duked it out with him in headlines. Someone whose impact was measured not in dunks or blocks, but in consistency, poise, and the quiet mastery of the game. This person, distant in proximity but close in Kobe's admiration, would become number 6 on the list. A player whose excellence Kobe respected above almost anyone else. Tim Duncan takes the 6th spot. If Kobe Bryant was fire, Tim Duncan was ice. It's that simple. Where Kobe thrived on raw emotion, flair, and a relentless intensity that could light up an arena, Duncan embodied calm, control, and measured precision. His game was a masterclass in fundamentals: footwork, positioning, timing, decision-making. If Kobe's brilliance came with a roar, Duncan's came with silence, a quiet assurance that perfection could speak for itself. Their teams, much like their styles, were polar opposites. The Los Angeles Lakers, flashy, dramatic, and star-studded, versus the disciplined, system-driven San Antonio Spurs. And yet, over the course of the 2000s, these two forces collided again and again in the playoffs, creating some of the most iconic battles in NBA history. Each matchup wasn't just a game. It was a chess match, a test of wills, a proving ground for two different interpretations of greatness. But for all the intensity on the court, Kobe's respect for Duncan was profound and deep-rooted. He once admitted something most fans might not expect. He was jealous of Duncan's stability. The Spurs, he noted, had one coach, one system, one culture that remained intact for 2 decades. The continuity, the cohesion, the calm confidence that came from that environment. Kobe didn't have that. He faced constant change, shifting teammates, evolving coaching philosophies, and endless media pressure. "I can't express how jealous I am of Tim," Kobe said. "He's had the same coach, same teammates, same system. That's stability. That's how you build greatness." But this jealousy wasn't bitterness. It wasn't resentment. It was admiration. Because Kobe knew that stability breeds excellence, and he knew that Duncan's consistency, season after season, decade after decade, was rare, almost untouchable. And when The Lakers and Spurs clashed in the playoffs. Kobe didn't just see an opponent, he saw a masterclass in leadership, strategy, and composure. He studied Duncan like a scientist, analyzing how he led quietly, how he trusted his teammates, how he won without ego, how he made every possession count. Duncan, for his part, reciprocated the respect. He always acknowledged Kobe's intensity, his relentless pursuit of perfection. In interviews, Duncan mentioned that Kobe was one of the best players in the game.
One of the best players in the game,
And that every time he faced him, he knew it was going to be a challenge. That wasn't casual praise. It was recognition of a competitor whose fire was matched only by his skill, a man who forced Duncan to elevate his game just to survive. They weren't friends in the traditional sense. They didn't need to share locker rooms or dinners. Their bond was forged in competition, not camaraderie. And yet, they were mirrors of each other in a way that transcended typical rivalry. Two men chasing the same elusive ideal, perfection, but approaching it from completely opposite directions. One with passion and heat, the other with calm and ice. And in that contrast lay the deepest kind of respect, silent, unspoken, earned through relentless work and repeated challenges. In the end, that's what Kobe admired most about Duncan. It wasn't the accolades, the championships, or the stats. It was the mastery of craft, the ability to lead without a word, the quiet power of consistency. And perhaps most importantly, it was the reminder that respect isn't always loud, isn't always visible. Sometimes it's silent, enduring, and absolute. The kind of respect that comes from understanding the essence of greatness, no matter the style. When Kobe watched Duncan dominate, he didn't just see an opponent. He saw a teacher, a standard bearer, and a reflection of what basketball could be at its purest. And that's why Tim Duncan earns his spot at the very end of this countdown. The ice to Kobe's fire, the calm to his storm, and a legend whose quiet excellence commanded the Black Mamba's deepest admiration. When you look at this list, Jordan, Bird, Kareem, Fisher, Shaq, and Duncan, you see more than just basketball names. You see the blueprint of Kobe Bryant's soul, and together, they formed the pillars of the Mamba mentality. Kobe didn't hand out respect easily. You had to earn it through sweat, through competition, through resilience. And that's what makes this list so powerful. It's not a list of his friends. It's a list of warriors he recognized as equals. In the end, Kobe Bryant's respect wasn't just a compliment. It was his way of saying, "You made me better." Because behind every fadeaway, every championship, every roar in the Staples Center, there was a lesson he learned from one of these men. So next time you watch Kobe highlights and see that fierce glare, remember this. Even the fiercest warriors bow their heads for those who've earned it. These were the six. The six who stood tall enough for Kobe Bryant to nod in respect. Which of these six legends do you think earned it the most? And who do you think shocked the most people by making the list? Comment your pick below.